Lately, China really the topic has been grabbing tons of attentions. China's EV vehicles trending on TikTok, China travel, technologies are all the buzz. As the world's second largest economy, it seems they're ahead in almost everything, literally. You've probably been amazed by the sheer scale of what this country has achieved, and maybe you're wondering, how did China rise to this level of dominance in the global economy? Well, if you're watching the right channel like us, Culture Crossroads, not those clickbait-filled, sensationalist media outlets, then you are about to find out. China's economic growth didn't happen overnight. To understand how they took off, we need to rewind all the way back to 1978. That's when the Chinese government officially began lay the foundation for its economic rise. After a long period of stagnation following the Cultural Revolution, China's people and its economy were at their lowest point since the country were established in 1949. Now, if you're wondering why they went through such a long pause, here's a short version. China was heavily centralized in power. In simple terms, if the top leader knows how to drive the bus, you'd end up somewhere anyway. That there was a lot that happened under their first generation of leadership, but that's a story for another time. The key turning point came in 1978 when the country's second generation leader emerged, Deng Xiaoping. He was laser focused on economic reform and had a determination, execution, and reputation within the Communist Party to make it happen. His position gave him the authority to quiet any opposition to his plans, then make sure no one could stand in the way of change. So yes, you heard that right. The main driver of the China economic takeoff was that man, Deng Xiaoping, the boss of China. In 1978, Deng started an international study plan, beginning with a visit to a neighboring country like Japan. And from there, the rest is history. It was quite a successful 8-day visit to Japan. During his time there, Deng Xiaoping solidified a historic Japan-China friendship statement. And in a moment that surprised many, he even embraced the Japanese Prime Minister after signing the agreement. In another unexpected turn, Deng's appearance at a regular Japanese wedding became a memorable highlight, that symbolizing a unique cultural bond between the two nations. During a press conference, when asked about the contentious fishing islands, a territorial dispute between China and Japan, Deng's response showcased his wisdom and foresight. He said, about the fishing islands, there's no need to rush. Let's set it aside for 10 years. I believe our next generation of leaders will be wiser than we are and will find out a better solution. It was this calm, pragmatic approach to diplomacy that endeared Deng Xiaoping to the Japanese public. At 74 years old, this Chinese statesman captivated Japan with his intelligence, diplomacy, and undenied charm, leaving a lasting impression on the nation. After his successful visit to Japan, Deng Xiaoping traveled to Singapore. Following the visit, Singapore's leader, Lee Kuan Yew, noticed a subtle but significant shift. Chinese newspapers no longer labeled Singapore as a watchdog for the US. It was clear Deng was on a mission to build friendship with all of China's neighbors, and he was genuinely eager to learn from these successful nations. For a leader of Communist Party-based country, Deng's humility, charm, and honesty were rare traits on the world stage. His openness to learn from others and his diplomatic fitness caught the world's attention. Deng Xiaoping's visit shattered a long-held perception of China as an isolated, closed-off nation, opening a new chapter in global diplomacy. The West, too, was surprised by this politically savvy and charismatic leader. In 1978, Deng Xiaoping was named Time magazine's Person of the Year, a recognition of his growing influence and the remarkable image he projected to the world. Away from the spotlights, Deng Xiaoping's mission was extremely tough and urgent. After that time, China's economy was on the verge of collapse. There wasn't much room or time left for this impoverished country to endure further setbacks. There wasn't the pivotal moment when China had to choose its path forward. As Deng famously stated during the Communist Party address, "What we need is to unleash the mind, be realistic, work together, and keep looking ahead." That same year, just before Christmas, a monumental industrial project took shape, the Bao Steel Plant. To ensure success, China even established a Japanese language learning team, demonstrating their commitment to learn from the best. The project, backed by billions of dollars, marked the beginning of China's first joint venture framework with another country. Only 2 days later, the Chinese government sent 50 scholars and researchers to the Western countries on a learning expedition. All of these milestones were laid during the Christmas season of 1978, marking the launch of what would become known in the future as the Chinese miracle. This was the moment China's economic transformation truly began.